Hey everyone. Been a little while, but I'm back and I want to check in with everybody. Life is just so wild. Time is just wild. That's what's messing with my head the most. Like, as much as I want to come on here and just like be this conduit to share my experiences and my epiphanies and my expansion with everybody who follows, it's like right now I'm so in it. Like, I'm so just living hands in the clay, trying to be present. Like, I don't want to plan. I don't want to try to control. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, is just like detaching from needing things to be a certain way. And I know we all deal with this, right? And that just comes with the healing, because true healing is like getting past those stories that we feel like define who we are as these characters we're playing. And when you detach, you like become less attached to your personality, to the character that you're playing in this simulation, basically, in order to expand what you actually are as a spiritual essence, using this avatar as a tool to expand more and to assist whatever this is, Gaia and everything in its expansion as well, because we're all connected. So it really, if you sit down with it, it's a lot to digest, but it's not, because we're so programmed. It feels like a lot because we're attached to our egos. We're attached to this identity. We're attached to like being a mom, being a teacher, being in a relationship, being married, being a coworker, being whatever it is that you're label yourself as in this reality. And they're really just tools. And I was going to share this later, but I think I'm going to share it now. And it's like, I had this epiphany going back into the matrix and working within the matrix, like a 9-to-5 type job, right? And I didn't work full time. I worked part time because, I'm raising 4 kids alone. So it's a lot, and they all are in extracurriculars, and, it's just a busy life. And, I was adamantly, because I had initially homeschooled my kids, I was adamantly against public schools and wanting to put my kids in them. But sometimes I'd be burnt out, and I felt like I had to put my kids in just for my own mental sanity, because I couldn't do it all. Like, I wasn't like in that space where I was able to do it to the best of my ability, where my cup was overflowing, so then I could then give and to my children in that way. It was like not happening, and I was being unrealistic, trying to fit into this spiritual box of like what everybody in the spiritual community thinks that how I should parent my kids, or what moves I should make in my life, because there's so much judgment. It's ridiculous, because we need these experiences in order to expand. And that's what people understand. Like, you're out there trying to control everything, trying to eat perfectly. Maybe some people want to be vegan. They want to make sure they meditate every day. Like, they have all these like rules on themselves, and put all this pressure, but really it's just control. Like, you're going in the opposite direction when you're trying to control every single thing, because you're attached to the outcome being this or that, or what you think it should look like, right? So when you detach from your personality, you're able to let go of these stories that define who you are and your character. And the more you let go of those stories, the more you can be present in the moment and not be like, well, so attached to the way you feel about how other people move around you, or how whatever happened at work today that, you want to, your ego wants you to run with it. It wants you to stress you out, but you are actually in control of how you perceive the situation. So anyways, I want to read this real quick. This was just like this was epiphany I had, and I wanted to write it down. And I just want to say too, when you get a download, a lot of times it's just because you're quiet and you're calm and you're able to receive from spirit. And that's what an epiphany is. That's what these intuitive moments open up for you, where you learn something about yourself that maybe you didn't see before, or you learn something about a situation that maybe you didn't see before. Okay. So here's what I wrote. Working again was such a good growth experience for me. It had its ups and downs, but it was very emotionally rewarding. I grew as a person. I learned more about how I carry myself impacts others. Of course, my dog is like going crazy right now, just to drive me crazy up in the window. Don't try to control your environment, right? Okay, back to reading. Also, it showed me not to judge what this experience should look like. I always deemed public schools as something I wanted to shun, but I saw how me and my kids expanded hearts around us. We were way showers in our community, and it was beautiful. It doesn't mean any situation is permanent, but I expanded because I was willing to follow what Spirit was guiding me to. Our egos think our lives should look a certain way. No plan will ever outdo the element of surprise that Spirit has for you. I'm so grateful writing this download, this epiphany, this experience I had in expansion. And I wanted to share that because I was very reluctant to go back into the matrix. I was just like, you have to start your own business. You have to like figure it out that way. But it was just like, nothing was feeling right. I had all these ideas and it was just like, I wasn't feeling that intuitive nudge to put it into action. So I finally was like, okay, I got a nudge to just substitute teach. That meant I didn't have to work full time, but I could still be doing what I got my degree in, and I could also be around kids, which I know I'm called to be. So I did that for this past year, and wow, like I expanded so much. I connected with so many people. Like I felt so like the Spirit was using me. And it was like, I saw how I was a part of the community that my kids were already in too. So like my kids were in the same, well, 3 of my 4 were in the same school for the most part. Like I bounced around to the older kids once in a while, but I try to stay with the younger kids. And I connected with so many people, teachers and kids. And I felt like my kids were like doing the same thing. They were just a good example of what a good friend is, or like, and then we would have conversations and they would like tell me about certain kids and I would know who they're talking about, and we could have these in-depth conversations about their experiences with friendship, or if they're having a tough time, or like anything, right? So it brought me and my kids closer, and it was like I was called to do that. Now, do I feel like I'm going to be in the public school system for an extensive amount of time? Heck no, because I do. Honestly, I've had so many downloads just of like creating my own learning centers almost, like schooling, but not anywhere near like how we school in the public education system. Totally different. Totally, I don't even have, it's too much to explain, but you feel me? Like I have these things on my heart, and because I've had these other experiences, that just adds to how I can expand when I do walk into different spaces. So I'm not attached like to anything. And when it comes to work, or how I provide for me and my kids, or wherever Spirit wants to lead me, I've just been like surrendering to that. And it has been beautiful. Like over the past year, like I've grown so much, and I'm so grateful. I feel bad because I've barely been on YouTube, and usually I'm on here way more, and I like being on here. It's a way for me to express myself, because I never really talk about anything to anyone other than Lance sometimes, you know. And that experience just ties, even that experience in my relationship ties into the same exact thing I'm talking about, in terms of not needing things to be a certain way. And what I notice is like being in my own space and then going into somebody's space, or having somebody come into my space when I feel like it resonates, works way better than like forcing yourself to fit into the paradigm of living with your partner immediately. Like I think it's such a healthy experience for me right now of not living with my partner, and living separately but growing like in our own space. Sometimes like we're going through our tough stuff, we can process it and go through it and not project it, because we have that space. And if you're good at communicating with each other, then you can communicate when you need space or you need support or whatever. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I'm just like throwing in little examples and details of like how you can detach from the character and needing things to be a certain way, in order to find more peace in your life. Because that's where I've come to this place where I'm like experiencing a lot of peace, because I just like have this like nonchalant, like, okay, like flow with the universe attitude, and it has been working out so beautifully for me. And I notice whenever I do get into a bad space, it's because I'm trying to control how I want somebody to act in a certain situation, how I want something to be, and it's not being that way in a certain situation, right? And instead of just surrendering to like something that supposedly negative that's happening. But it's been so good. It's been so expansive, and it's been challenging, but for the most part, like those challenges have been so much easier to navigate based off my detachment of like needing to control things in my life. And I was pretty controlling. And the only reason that we try to control things is because we want to feel safe. We want to feel like everything's okay, right? And that's like needing things on the outside to be okay, to feel it okay on the inside. But it's like, you need to feel okay on the inside. That way it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. You're going to be okay, you know? Like, even if it's worst case scenario, like death, you're still going to be okay because you just transform. Like you never are obliterated into nothingness. Like energy cannot be destroyed, right? So there's nothing to fear. And we have to let go of those stories that create fear, that create those memories of fear. And then you bring up the emotion in your body. And then that emotion is like, your brain's trying to figure out, why do I feel like sometimes those emotions come up and you're not sure why, like nothing has even happened on the outside. And then your mind starts to be like, because maybe you're an empath, you picked up on someone's energy, and your mind's like, why do I feel this way? It must have been because of this. It must have been because of this. And then you start trying to find reasons why you should feel that way, instead of just being like, oh, I feel this way. It's okay. Like, it might be a little rough day, but this too shall pass. No big deal. Yeah. It's so much, like, I don't even, like, there's so many thoughts running through my mind of things that I could share that I've experienced, but what I really wanted to touch on was that detachment. And I know I've probably talked about detachment in one way or another in so many different videos, but it is the key. It is the key. Like, that's why, like, on social media, like, this is another example. Like, I'm like very conscious of like the way I post on social media based on like for instance, I used to take a lot of pictures of myself, and that was like over a decade ago. But like when I used to do that, like I was unconsciously doing it to feel validated externally, right? And using my appearance as a tool to feel better about myself, I guess you could say. Because basically I was feeling unworthy, but not conscious of it, because say we think like we look good, we put on a cute outfit or something, and we take a picture, and we don't realize that we're doing that because there's some type of self-worth deficit. It's not that it's bad to wear a cute outfit, but a lot of times when you're posting it and you're unconsciously like wanting likes, or wanting a specific person to like it or whatever, it's like you're needing that to feel okay. You're needing that to feel better. You need that hit, instead of just like being at this peace in your heart already, you know? Same with relationships, like, so attached to how we want people to behave within a relationship. And then we have this whole list of expectations. And if people don't reach those, like, I know I'm worthy of this. And it's like, yes, you are, but it's not for somebody else to fill you up. It's for you to fill you up. It's for you to see that, like, you don't need it. You have what you need. It's just right here. It's right here. And you have to get out of here. It's really just choosing to perceive the world differently. And then once you train your mind to stop spiraling in these narratives that you have about who you are, what the world wants you to be, what somebody else wants you to be, what you want other people to be, like, that's all distraction. it's distracting you from being creative. It's distracting you from like expanding into like even higher versions of yourself, where you're like, you're so like immersed and your heart is so expanded and you're immersed in the creative process and just like being present with wherever you're at, helping those who are directly with you and present with you around you, like whatever it is like that you're being called to do, animals, gardening, whatever. I just give examples that have to do with me because that's what's on my mind, but like whatever those things are, like you're not distracted in your mind, so you can fully expand into these ideas that you have. That was what my big issue was. Like I had so many downloads, so many ideas, notebooks full of things that I could do, but because I couldn't get out of my head, I couldn't expand in those creative areas because I was so caught up in what was going on in my relationship, in my work life, and whatever. I couldn't expand in my creative space. So I had to get out of my head. I had to quit telling these stories. I had to quit defining myself as this limited person and actually use this avatar, use this personality, use who I came in to be according to like my birth chart and like all these things that I chose, use those to my creative and expansive advantage instead of limitations. Because like we all have this shadow side and this light side, but we get to decide what we want to embody. And when the shadow side comes up, we get to decide if we make a big deal out of it. When you stop making a big deal out of it, that's when you start chipping away at your ego, which will always be there. But when life isn't a big deal, then you have that piece where you can then get those intuitive hits in order to expand in that creative energy, because Spirit's leading you into the project, leading into whatever creative endeavor, that even if it's just studying, get really interested in a topic. I know for me, when I'm really distracted about problems in life, I can't even like watch a YouTube video about a topic, like a historical topic or something I'm interested in, because I can't get out of my head. So the whole time I'll be thinking about this thing that happened at work, and I'm trying to watch this YouTube video about something I'm interested in. I can't even hear it because I'm in my head, right? And we all get caught up in that. That's life. But we have to learn how to navigate contrast in our life. Contrast, see, it's a perception. Like it does, like for me, like a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm having to go into this whole story about why I'm having a bad day, when the same exact thing could happen to me, and I can twist that. I can twist my perception of it in order to have a good day, regardless of it happening. So not needing to control the surroundings and being able to be at peace regardless. That is what mastery is. Once you can do that, then it's like you can just walk with your heart expanded, impacting everyone around you. And it's like, that's all you need. It's not about money. It's not about the relationship. It's not about anything. It's just being able to be in your heart space everywhere you go. And then it'll unfold naturally. The creativity will, the love and interaction with others will, everything will. And so, yeah. And I just want to say, like, you have to be grounded right now. Like, get into nature as much as you can. I have grounding sheets on my bed. I just bought them for all my kids too. Like, just because there's so much solar activity, like if you don't, you're going to be drifting in la la land. Like you're going to feel high and you didn't even smoke or do anything. Like you're just going to feel high. And if you don't get into nature and get really present, you could get kind of lost and detached, and like then you got to wind yourself back. It's just a lot. Like just make that time for yourself, because you could get lost in the matrix and in your mind and drama. It's hard sometimes when you get sucked in. Then you got to reel yourself back and go through like this process of rest just to get back to like base, right? Just to get back connected to Spirit and be like, oh my gosh, Spirit, I haven't talked to you in days. What the heck is going on here? You know, where when I'm really connected, I'll go throughout the entire day talking to Spirit. And a lot of times that requires that alone time, getting off the phone and gossiping and just being present with yourself. Sometimes you go to the gym. Sometimes you go through a walk in nature or a park or something like that. But whatever it is, you got to shut off the TV. You got to like get present with yourself. You want to connect to Spirit, then act like you want to. And then master yourself, master your own mind. But yeah, that's all I have to share today, guys. I really want to come touch base, and I hope to be making a lot more videos because I am not going to be working and all that, and I'll have some time. I want to talk more about relationships and stuff because you guys, that's basically why I was called to this channel. A big chunk of why I was called to this channel was to share about my relationship. So I will continue to do that, like I always have. And, yeah, keep you posted. But for now, it's just like, beautiful to be in my own space. He's in his own space, and we come together every couple weeks, and it's healthy. It's expanding. It's good. It's not, it's a form of detachment and acceptance. So yeah, I love you guys, and I will be back on soon.